Swatting is a thing. Many people know what it is. Many people do not. And actually, I'm about to explain it, but I hope you never have to experience it firsthand. Essentially, how it works in this country right now is some scumbag, murderous communist wants people on the right to die because communists are inherently violent people. We've had this discussion many times before. And so what do? They call local cop shop. They act as if there's a hostage situation or some guy murdered his entire family and now he wants to commit suicide by cop, calls us into the local police department, sheriff's department. Cops, understandably, strap on all the gear, show up at someone's house, and the communist hopes a gunfire is exchanged, and the evil right-winger who believes babies shouldn't have their penises chopped off is dead and gone. Joining me now, two men who know more about this than I do since they just experienced it. Shawn, Farash, host of the Ungoverned podcast, and Dustin, Grage, columnist at Town Hall. I almost call him Gage almost every single time. Dustin, I'm sorry about that. I suck. Okay, Shawn, let's begin with you. It's your story, not mine. What happened?
So it was Thursday evening. I took a very short nap on the couch, which is apparently something I'm not supposed to do anymore because over the weekend I did the same thing and a tornado almost landed on our house in Tennessee. So we said no more naps. But my wife woke me up and said, "Shawn, there's cops in the yard with guns." And I had just heard that morning that Nick Sorter's parents had been swatted. Gunther Eagleman had been swatted. So I sat straight up and I said, "All right, we're being swatted." And my wife didn't know what that meant. She thought this was going to be like a J6 situation where I was getting ripped out of the house and the place was going to get turned upside down and everything was going to be a mess. But I'd heard of this before. Marjorie Taylor Greene had had it happen to her. Other people have had it happen to them. And so I told her, I said, somebody most likely called in, basically, Jesse, what you just said, some bizarre, vicious, gruesome crime to the house. And we just have to prove basically that that's not what happened. And we're going to very calmly diffuse it. So we're not pointing phones. We're not getting up, doing anything. Someone told me, go film it. I said, I am not going to go stand in front of a window where some guy's shooting, pointing a gun at me and holding something up at him. We're not going to do that. We're going to just relax and we're going to, let them give the instructions and we'll sort through all of that other stuff afterwards. And that's exactly what we did. But they had guns trained on our home. There were probably at least 10 officers. There were 5 vehicles that we were able to see at the back and the front of the home, altogether 5 vehicles. And it was something that I wouldn't want anybody to go through because the fact of the matter is, as professional as our sheriff's department was, and they were phenomenal, they were great throughout this entire process. We don't know them. They had never known us. And, one person being a little too jumpy could create a disaster. And we don't want that for anybody who this happens to next. It has to stop.
No doubt. That is, I'm glad you're okay, brother. Dustin, you have your own story. What is it?
Yeah, and just to piggyback on Shawn there, where, hey, Shawn, you didn't know your police department. We're just honestly very fortunate where we knew our department before we even got knocked on the door. We got phone calls. Usually we're used to liberal trolls like ringing off our phones. So those dozen phone calls, we ignored them all up until we got a voicemail saying, well, no, this is actually law enforcement. Just like answer your phone. So we did. But the 911 call that went through for us in this scenario is we had 4 masked men enter our home. They had killed my family at this point. And I was by the end of the call in my bathroom, barricaded, begging for law enforcement to storm my house to save my life. But of course, if I'm the only first person they see and they don't know who I am, I may be shot right there. So that's their intention. They want to have one of us killed in this scenario. And it's really unfortunate, but, just goes to show if literally any of you have a large following out there on X, like this is the target they're putting on, they're training the guns on us. If you have a large following, reach out to your law enforcement department. Make sure they have your personal cell phone number. Make sure you have a camera system so you know who's actually outside, because who's to say that someone's calling you and it's actually someone who wants to threaten your life and they want you to walk out with your hands up. Now, please cooperate with law enforcement, do that, but it's just the detail of having that camera system and having that little extra bit there to make those situations diffuse. But yeah, these are monsters and they're doing the same thing to all of us. I didn't know Shawn before this, but now we know each other fairly well. We're all in a group chat together at this point, so it's like a horrible family affair at this point. But we're happy that everyone's been safe to this point, and just frankly, we just got to keep pushing on this stuff so it becomes more publicly aware. We're also thankful that not thankful, but it happened to my congressman here in Minnesota, Tom Emmer. So our department also had this experience already for a political figure being targeted. So it helped in that regard as well. But this is something that's going to be on the rise, and quite frankly, we have to put more levers in place to increase the penalties on this stuff. I'm thankful that Kash Patel's taking this seriously. He's taking our voices seriously, and hopefully we'll resolve this soon.
Well, life's little blessings. At least you guys are joining forces now. I love to see the good people coming together. And obviously, it's easy to see how someone could die. Last time I caught someone on a camera in my front lawn or by it, I came right out my front door with a weapon. And it turned out it was just some guy taking pictures of Christmas lights. But if that's a cop, maybe I'm not here today. Shawn, I understand kind of a bizarre twist that I guess I don't fully get. Why? That pizza delivery is part of this whole thing. Before, after, during, that pizzas are delivered to people. One, did this happen to you? Two, what kind of pizza was it? Something low end like Domino's? Was it quality Little Caesars? What was it?
Well, it was a low end Domino's and Papa John's. And hey, that's no offense to the folks out here who run those chains. I know you guys are just trying to make a living, but I'm from New York and that's not pizza. So I can say that. I live in Tennessee now, but that's still not pizza, even though I'm down here, and I love it down in this state. It's great. I think it's like a way to taunt, kind of say, hey, I know where you live, and I can do whatever I want. I've got your address, and I'm going to be a nuisance. Listen, you want to send pizza to my house, at least get the order right. I'm not going to receive it anyway, but at least get the order right, okay? But they were sending them, and it was more of a nuisance, kind of to keep you rattled. Like, am I going to get swatted again because they were able to do this? The weird thing was the first 4 times we got it, it was all after we had already had our encounter with the police. But the first 4 times they used my phone number on the order. The final time, which was Friday evening, they used the number to our local sheriff's department. So I said, I don't know if taunting them is a great idea. Maybe that's how bold these guys and gals are, this group is, in that they think they're not going to get caught. I don't know. I think they might be playing with fire. But I feel like the whole pizza thing is a way to taunt. A lot of people think maybe the deliveries come first to see if you're home. But for me, every single pizza delivery came after the original encounter with the police, which thankfully went smoothly. Because everybody kept a level head. But in my opinion, it was Domino's, it was Papa John's in our experience, and it was COD, cash on delivery. So it wasn't paid for already. Everyone said, oh, that's going to be easy to track. Well, it wasn't paid for already. These were orders that were placed online and were supposed to be cash on delivery. So you're supposed to give the money to the driver. Driver takes it back to the store. What we did is we set up a system with our local Domino's and Papa John's where if they receive an order with our address, I now have a system for the location to verify whether or not I placed that order. And if they can't verify it, the order never leaves the store. So we basically cut that off.
Boys, you take care of yourselves out there, all right? I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.